Hey, welcome back everyone. It is now the end of August of 2021, and a lot of Star Wars fans around the world have been very much invested in the new projects by Jon Favreau and Dave Filoni. We're talking about, of course, Ahsoka, the Book of Boba Fett, the Mandalorian Season 3 and 4, and so much more to come. This is Mike Zero. Make sure to subscribe if you're new to the channel for future Star Wars material. Also, if you guys would like to go ahead and check me out at Mike01 on Twitter, you guys could go ahead and do so if you would like to. Now, on top of all of this, we do know that Disney and Lucasfilm, they are essentially trying to rebuild Star Wars from the ground up. Apart from what happened with the sequel trilogy, apart from what happened specifically with The Last Jedi and director Rian Johnson and how he really kind of wrecked the character of Luke, they're trying to steer away from that and trying to make the fans pretty much not remember that as much as possible. That's their main goal right now, and Jon and Dave are on a mission to do that. They're bringing back tons of Star Wars Legends content. They're bringing back a lot of the fan favorite characters from previous installments, like such as Star Wars Legends books, novels, and comics. It is a very special time to be a Star Wars fan, to say the least, and there's a lot happening behind the scenes with, of course, these future Star Wars TV shows. Now, the thing about Jon and Dave is what's great about them is that they recently got a promotion over at Lucasfilm a couple of months ago that gives them more creative power over these new projects. Even some of the projects that they are not even writing and or directing, they still have creative power over some of those projects. However, some of which they never really worked on in any case, such as, Andor and Rangers of the New Republic. As of right now, they're kind of steering away from that because it's being pretty much rebuilt from the ground up. But one thing that I think a lot of fans need to know is the fact that they are working on over a dozen Star Wars projects as of right now. That's a lot of work. So, with that being said, now that both Jon Favreau and Dave Filoni are beginning to work on the Ahsoka Tano series, as well as the Mandalorian Season 3, which is set to begin filming sometime in September, they recently are getting closer to finishing post-production for the Book of Boba Fett. However, in a recent interview with creator Jon Favreau, when he was questioned about his upcoming projects, Favreau was eventually questioned about George Lucas. Favreau goes on to state that he loves working with Lucas on this wonderful project and projects that will transform the Star Wars brand in unexpected ways for the fandom. However, Jon makes it clear that there was some upsetting news along the line with George Lucas about his involvement with Star Wars. Favreau reveals that once Rangers of the New Republic was off the board for a while and is now being reframed, Lucas is said to have been asked to actually stay off the project by Disney while they begin to reframe that show. Favreau reveals that this show is set to have a full group of beloved and known Star Wars characters that will hold strong ties to Return of the Jedi. Favreau states that the higher-ups over at Disney were very cautious with this show, while it was being reframed and refused for Lucas to be involved in any way, shape, or form. Favreau also reveals that the same goes for later episodes of Star Wars Andor that are said to be crucial to the plot of the story that Lucas was separated from and pretty much avoided from working on directly, which saddened Favreau in, of course, many different ways. Further, Favreau reveals that though myself and Dave don't have much involvement with that show, it was hard to see George's involvement for the final episodes of Andor vanish before our very own eyes. That is going to include a very iconic villain in the series that I think fans around the world and the globe will very much appreciate. Favreau also states that any of Lucas's philosophies in Star Wars The Acolyte by Kathleen Kennedy were recently actually pretty much discarded and are completely ignored as they went to focus on their own thing, so to speak. Now, this was recently made final for that team, that the mystery thriller, of course, The Acolyte, is being worked on, that they are working on as of right now, that will dive into emerging dark side powers, that will actually steer completely away from the tone of George Lucas. Apart from this, Kathleen Kennedy intentionally erased any of George's few requests for the Acolyte series that would actually have improved some of those episodes. This would be a total of 3 Star Wars shows that Lucas was actually pushed away from, in total by Disney. However, Lucas is thankfully working on so much more with Jon and Dave, over a dozen, so to speak. So let me just touch on what's really going on here and exactly why a lot of fans have been very upset about this. The fact that, George was supposed to work on the final crucial episodes of Andor, as well as a lot of his takes on the philosophy of the franchise being inserted into the Acolyte originally, as well as other, impacts on other projects being taken away and how George was pretty much discarded from those projects. It really makes you wonder, exactly what they could have been like if Lucas was more involved. Rangers, we know that project was a mess to begin with. It actually got canceled, then they're reframing it as we know it. That's a lot of work that's being poured into that show. So that still has yet to have gotten a release date because of the cancellation and how they're pretty much rebranding it and giving it a brand new main character, mainly because of how Gina Carano was fired some months ago, back in February. The main character in that show was supposed to be Cara Dune right from the get-go. Now what they're doing is that they're reframing it to be a well-known character, a well-respected character from the original trilogy and or the overall Star Wars canon from the animated TV shows. So it could be someone like around the lines of Leia or Hera. Now, thing about this also is that this was Disney's call to actually avoid Lucas from entering those 3 specific projects in different ways. Number 1, him not being involved with Rangers at all, period, from this point on forward. I think that pretty much kind of makes the fans a little bit less excited about the show because he's not going to have as much influence on it. Number 2, how he's no longer involved on the final episodes of Andor and was not involved on those episodes. That's going to involve a major iconic villain. Now, we've heard that the Darth Vader suit was actually being used on set for Andor, so that most likely is exactly what it's pointing towards, is big scenes involving Vader in the Andor series makes sense because it does indeed connect to Rogue One. Andor serves as a prequel to Rogue One, so you can see the connections there. The other thing is his philosophy is being erased from the Acolyte series. Now, we know that the Acolyte series is going to be considered a mystery thriller, which is something that a lot of fans are just up in arms over and really not looking forward to. Some fans are really appreciating that and liking that idea, but not many. The main reason is because Kathleen Kennedy is involved with Leslie Headland, and pretty much these two are working hand in hand on this show. Alright, so this show is going to have a lot of these identity politics thrown in. They're focusing away from the story. They're not really focusing specifically on character development. It seems like that this is just a product to push a specific message forward on Disney+. That's what it comes off as. So this big, reveal by Jon Favreau about Lucas being steered away from these multiple projects, it does make you wonder, could this happen for future projects? I highly doubt it. It doesn't really faze me in the least to say, anything like that. I don't think he's going to be pushed away from Kenobi or Acolyte, or should I say, not Acolyte, Ahsoka, or any of those beloved projects like Mando Season 3 and 4. I don't see that necessarily happening. But the fact that he was let go and not really, given the opportunity to work on specific parts of those other projects, it is kind of offensive to him as a creator, because this is the guy of all people that created the brand from the very beginning, back in 1975, when he was working on A New Hope before it even released. So, like I said before, guys, drop a comment below. Let me know if you about all of this in the comments, and if you guys did enjoy the content for today, do make sure to drop a thumbs up on this video to support the channel. I thank you all so very much for the kind support, and I'll catch you guys next time.